Warning, this podcast contains me messing everything up. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the SCN TV podcast for Heroes Reborn, Season 1, Episode 4, The Needs of the Many. I'm your host, Dom. With me, my co-host, El Vengador.
I was going to call myself Hero Truther, but I'll take it.
A.K.A. Clio.
Hello.
And Erika.
Hello.
How's it going?
I don't have any nice cosplay or anything.
No?
I'm kind of lazy.
I see. So what do you guys think of this episode?
Good.
Interesting. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
The season's getting really good.
Yeah.
And I loved, if you just want to skip all the way to the very end of the episode, how they fired the first shots between the Heroes Reborn Shield, MCU thing.
Mm-hmm.
How the evil Evos that work for Renatus are called Inhumans.
Basically.
Oh, yeah, they said Inhuman.
They did say it.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically a Marvel parallel, this whole thing. And I was really hoping that they weren't going down that route, but it's becoming more and more apparent as it goes on. So
They're out marveling the MCU.
Pretty
It's
much.
just funny.
I am going to say the one thing that I'm getting irritated at is seeing Hero in all the goddamn previews and him not showing up in the episodes.
And not seeing Hero.
And I'm
Yeah,
ready
he wasn't
to choke
on the episode.
someone. They showed us at the end of last week Hero in the preview.
Yeah.
Hero was not here.
Yeah.
And if they do it again, I'm going to get even more mad.
Did they show him in the preview for next week?
I didn't see a preview for next week yet.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I didn't actually watch the preview, so don't know. Episode starts right where the last one left off, with Tommy and his mom in the car. Accident, whatever. Tommy teleported his mom right to the hospital.
Yeah.
Which we already assumed was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And some trouble goes down. Huh?
She looked pretty dead to me. I thought she was dead.
She was barely moving, but yeah. Yeah, she, opened her eye at one point. She, she said something, but,
I think she had resigned herself to death, but then he just kind of, freaked out and popped her into the hospital.
Yeah. Which, thankfully, he didn't pop her into, a gurney or anything. She was solidified.
Yeah, she was not halfway through a wall or anything.
Right. So, Tommy ends up getting flagged, blood tested. He gets flagged as, Evo. I was going to call them metahumans.
Yeah.
That's wrong. Evo. But
Evolved humans.
Yeah, I got confused because his mom didn't get flagged.
I don't think his mom is his mom an Evo?
No, she's not.
I thought she was. I thought they said.
No, she's not.
Huh.
She's just super paranoid about him.
Right.
Yeah, she's not an Evo. But I think it's super interesting that there's a shortage of donated blood. It feels very much like the paranoia around AIDS in the 70s.
Yeah. It's a little.
Yeah, they
crazy.
The Evos don't want to be tested. And if you know that your neighbors went to go, donate blood, give blood, whatever, and now they've been arrested by the federal government, you're just not going to donate blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm starting to believe, though, that Tommy may end up turning into the villain.
Really? Why?
Because he... first, early or later on in the episode, they kind of name drop Siler. They hinted at Siler. Right, so I already had Siler on my brain because I still think that Casper is Siler, and if you guys want to hear my whole theory or whatever, go back a couple
Yeah.
episodes and um, yeah. Anyway,
Is his name
Tommy,
actually Casper?
his name is well, they haven't said it in the show yet, but
Oh,
it's in all the press releases. His name is Casper, so
I'm gonna still call him Pennyworth.
okay.
So.
So Alfred, no, but Tommy, he started this episode. He said, "Do you ever get the feeling you were meant to do something extraordinary?" And it's like 1,000 pounds of pressure weighing me down, reminding me that I'm different, and that just brought me back to Siler. And it's like Siler had this need to be special, and it's just like I feel it resonating from Tommy again.
Well, it's kind of the what they call the hero's path,
Mm-hmm.
where the hero of the story is always tempted to turn evil because of all the pressure and the expectations and everything. You see it in like every movie. It's a major trope, and this is just all that's happening right here.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm starting to not really like Tommy. He's just kind of getting on my nerves.
Still like Tommy.
Oh, I
It's
love Tommy.
the girl that's weirded me out. It's like, come on, honey, break up with your boyfriend already.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, the
know she's.
boyfriend's like the whole thing. It like creeps me out because they're in like a three-way relationship almost.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
Because like he goes to hug her like just as tightly as she hugged him,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, are you guys gonna like all have sex together? Is that what's gonna happen?
it's really starting to get a little creepy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they do have poly relationships in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We got to see a bit more of Melina this episode as she brought some butterflies back to life and grew a tree
Yes.
out of nowhere.
So I don't know if you guys talked about this last week, but I was very, I don't want to say upset, but confused at why the lady that she's with,
Mm-hmm.
why she was invisible. They were alone in the fucking, tundra.
Right.
Why was she invisible? Besides to show us. Yeah, exactly, but that's the thing. That's not I don't know why it bothers. Storytelling is why it bothers me, I guess, because there's no need for her to be
Right.
invisible. So why is she invisible? I guess that was the thing,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she went invisible this episode briefly. It's not like she was invisible the whole
Yeah,
time.
but that was to use her power,
Right.
To fight a dude. So that makes sense.
Yeah, because the guy's hiking. They're in what, Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, they're hiking down into Canada.
well, the guy was hiking up in the mountain or whatever, and he comes across her just like grow a tree out of the ground. And he's like, "Oh my god, Evo!" And he goes to call it in,
Yeah.
and Melina's friend just goes and destroys the phone and beats the crap out of him.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So,
I'm wondering what her deal is.
well, she kind of has a Lindenberg power where Lindenberg was able to restore life, heal people and stuff like that. I don't know if he could necessarily bring someone back from the dead, but that's what Melina seems to be doing.
Oh no, I meant the invisible lady.
Oh, the invisible, yeah.
Yeah. Not her. Like, I get her powers and everything. I want to know her background sort of deal.
Seems
Right.
like she was just Melina's caretaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to see more of her. She's a little mysterious.
Mm-hmm. We had Carlos
Yes.
souping up the suit, El Vengador. He basically souped it up like he souped up the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really seems, at least in the shots they showed, it seemed kind of jerky, like not fluid, not very good for fighting crime.
Yeah.
It's like it
Well,
was
I think
like steam powered or something.
yeah, I think his idea behind it was my brother was super strong. I'm not. What can make me keep up with that? Also, the guy he's fighting is super strong.
Right.
So he's thinking what's going to protect me and what's going to, give me the extra punch I need to fight this guy.
And I really like the dynamic of it because he's not a Evo. And I'm
No,
glad that he's not an Evo. I think it just adds this whole dynamic of not everyone with powers has to be a hero. Like people without powers can be heroes too.
watch Dom. You're going to be so disappointed at in a couple episodes when he finds out he has powers.
I don't think he's gonna, because
Well,
they wouldn't have built up this whole suit for him. They wouldn't have hyped that whole.
Well, I think from what I've got at it, his power is kind of like Micah's power was, where he just knows tech and he can really build, intricate machinery stuff. Like
He
where
might
he
not
just
manipulate it like Micah can, but
like where when he just walked by that car in the earlier episodes, he's like, oh, this is wrong. It's just like kind of like a preternatural sense, not necessarily like a power, but he just knows. I don't know. It might not be a power. That's kind of way I read into it, because the rest of the family has powers.
yeah,
So
maybe. I think it's definitely plausible.
yeah.
We got to see a little bit from Miko and Katana Girl, which I feel like we didn't need anything out of them this episode because it kind of went nowhere.
I liked what
It was sad.
what he did. He was like, yeah, we need. He's like, how are we going to get to Renatus? I'll just call my fan base and tell them to meet me there.
Which, can I tell you, if he was really internet famous and did that, there would be a hell of a lot more people there than there was.
Well,
yeah. Well, he was like, oh, I have like 2,000 followers waiting for me to go live or something like that.
There were like 40 people there.
Well, it depends, because I mean, if you look at our huge people online, whether it's people like PewDiePie or anybody on Twitch famous or anything, you're not necessarily going to be able to go like say Dan's Gaming or whoever just says, hey, everybody show up to this town in Colorado in an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. It's not everyone's going to be local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially
you might only get 40 or 50 people.
Yeah, especially because it's only he didn't have that many. It was like, I think it was like 2,000, and he was claiming to be like famous. If he's at 2,000, right?
Well, it could be 2,000 live followers.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, like actual viewers, which is pretty big.
But keep in mind that that's worldwide. So he's going to Colorado.
Yeah.
So not everyone can make it. So, but it was still kind of cool. I like the whole way that they set up the esports, thing and all that, and it's kind of cool. But I still felt like it just really wasn't going anywhere. And I know it's a build up to what's to come. But
it's just setting up.
I would rather have them put them on the back burner to give other people some screen time, and explore a little more into the stories that mattered for this episode. Like. The El Vengador story, it didn't really go anywhere, but at least we got to see, something happen. Like, yeah, Carlos, his nephew Jose, and father, Mauricio? Father Mauricio?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, they got captured. Was that by the police? Who'd they get captured by?
No, that was by the gangster, the dude from Orphan Black.
Okay, I thought it was like some Evo police or something.
No. He seemed like he was a shady underground dude. I think he paid the cops to get Oscar killed.
Probably.
That's what he made it sound like. He was like he made it sound like it was his plan to get Oscar.
I mean, it's really unfortunate, too, that, Jose just used that opportunity to show off his powers
Yeah.
and get caught because Jose's been really careful.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it sucks.
We had the Luke and Joanne story, which is getting more and more interesting to me. Like, it was the story that I absolutely hated going into the series, and now four episodes in, it's starting to grow on me. Like, I really like it. Like, you know, they went in together to do this. He kind of had some resentment, well, not resentment, but like apprehension to go in and do it, and now he's starting to feel some resentment for doing it, and he feels like they've drifted apart and they're not the same people, and now he's got these powers that he just discovered, and I know that he's worried about showing them to her, like, the build up into it, and then they go in and just off this guy in the list, and oh my god, when that dog came in,
Oh, puppy!
the dog came in, I was just like, no.
So afraid she was gonna shoot the dog.
Oh no, I didn't think for a second she was gonna shoot the dog. But it's just like the dog just went and laid on the owner, and it's just
and he did this like
the whimpering.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't see them as people.
Yeah.
But she couldn't kill Luke, so there's that.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I kind of up until today, like literally today, I just hated Joanne. I wanted her to die, and I wanted her to go, basically be off the show. I'm tired of seeing her. But then, like, this whole story is Joanne's doing this because her son was killed. She doesn't have her kid anymore. And my best friend today, her daughter would have been 11, but she was killed as a child. And I see the hurt and the pain and the absolutely nothing in the world can you do or say to even comfort the person, because it's such an unimaginable thing that now it's kind of like it kind of gives me more empathy towards Joanne, the character, because it's like, yeah, she's this absolutely evil, will murder anybody at the drop of a hat. The guy barely had the door open before she shot him in the head, but you almost kind of understand where she's coming from,
I thought she was gonna shoot. I thought she was gonna shoot Luke.
She almost did.
Yeah.
But I mean, it shows she has some compassion left.
Right. Not too much, but some.
Which, I mean, she shot that guy point blank in the head and then was bragging about how good the shot was, and I'm like, you were point blank.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
But it was like an automated thing, like,
yeah,
dude just fell over before he even realized, he even heard the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, did you just see the way his body crumpled before his eyes realized it? What happened?
Right.
And it's just like, damn.
I mean, she's off, gone off the deep end.
Yeah, she got some issues.
I don't know.
I'm curious where her story is going to go. Like, we kind of have an idea of where Luke is going to go, where he's going to have this redemption path, and, he's also, going to go on the hero's journey. But her, she's still a villain, kind of.
Yeah.
But she's showing a hint of remorse, which compassion, which anytime you show compassion in any kind of capacity on a TV show, you're usually gonna die. So.
That's not necessarily true.
Shows like this.
But I definitely think she's gonna have to think about things. Like, she's buried everything in death. She's gonna have to, deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just love the way he used his powers to burn the list.
Yeah,
that was great.
And I knew she was going to pull the car over immediately. I thought she was going to shoot him, though. I really did. So I was quite surprised.
Yeah, that was... See, I don't even know... We don't really know what his powers are. It's kind of like supercharged solar battery. But
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
like,
we were
what would have
assuming
happened?
it was off the power that the guy had in season 1 of the first Heroes, but it does not seem to be that at all.
Yeah, it seems like heat, and he can use the heat to make fire.
Yeah, but like Erika said, it's like solar. Like it
Yeah.
absorbs. It's not just heat; it absorbs
Yeah.
the sunlight. It's like it's
Right, because he
it's a
can
solar
blot out.
battery, just like what Erika said. Yeah.
Yeah, he can blot out the sun
I don't.
and not use it.
It's I don't know. It's gonna be kind of interesting.
Yeah, and then we had the solar eclipse thing. You know, the aurora borealis, whatever that was going on,
Mm-hmm.
which his power is stopped immediately, and then we saw Miko and Katana Girl were like noticing it on the plane. You know, before they went up, and
Mm-hmm.
you know it was going around. We didn't see it affect Tommy at all, but kind of curious. Is that Melina doing that or?
Yeah, that's her power.
Probably. Well, she's been fighting off something. She's been stopping something from happening. So it's probably like an aftershock of whatever she's doing to try to stop.
Right, and what I think it is, I think it's what that what's the guy's name that can clone himself?
Harris?
Harris.
Yes.
I think it's what uh Erika said to Harris, and it's she's like take the shadow,
Yeah.
and they cut to Phoebe. So I think
Yeah.
it's whatever was caused at the
What happened? Yeah.
Odessa incident. That there's some darkness or whatever that had to do with her, with Phoebe and the shadow, and it seems like Melina is trying to restore whatever from the shadow and like fight back the shadow.
Yeah. And I think the shadow's going to be some sort of a black hole or something like that. Something that will eat everything around it.
Hmm.
Well, we kind of
All the light.
gotten we've kind of gotten hints and tidbits of what Erica's main plan is to mass genocide of the entire human race to restart humanity.
Right.
So imagine whatever it might be like tying in with the constant Marvel themes. It might be a Galactus type event. Who knows?
Yeah. But the meat of the story here, we had Noah and Quentin going into Renatus, infiltrating it, with the help of Taylor, which is Erica's daughter.
And I wasn't here last week, but I have to say my favorite part of this season, this whole show so far, is Quinn and Noah tumbling into the garage door.
Oh, yeah.
That was the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Just like, how are you guys even sneaking past anyone?
I like there at the very beginning of that scene where he's like, "Look at these digital sheep enjoying their free sushi and their free whatever else," and Noah's like, "You worked here for a year before you said anything." He's like, "It's really good sushi."
But I mean,
And then he goes and eats the sushi later. He's
Yeah,
doing it when
he
they
goes.
confront Taylor.
He goes to get himself some free sushi.
Yeah.
and maybe it's just because he doesn't want to tell Noah, but it seems like they're ignoring the fact that the reason he went to work at Renatus was to infiltrate them.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's making it sound like he just went to work there.
Right. Which we
do you think
learned-
that's because he just doesn't want no one to know?
I don't think so. I think it's just I feel like, to me, my personal feeling is that they filmed some of Heroes first and then went back and filmed Dark Matters later.
Yeah.
So everything that we saw in the Dark Matters web series prequel, which, for the record, if you guys have not seen it, go back and watch it, because it's the best supplement you can find right now to the Heroes universe. It's amazing. It's better, I think, than the first couple episodes of Reborn.
I think so too.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that was kind of an after effect, and they went in and did like the prequel story to that after they had this story written in. So, I think it's just a product of that. But so Taylor doesn't really believe what her mother's doing. She confronts her mother, after all this stuff. They end up going into, like, infiltrating in, and we find out what happens when one of what's his face's clones die.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harris.
Dust.
Harris. Yeah, they just turn into dust.
I love that. And he's like, it's like, are we not just gonna stop and talk about how these guys just turned into salt? And he's like, welcome to my world.
No, we're just gonna walk past them.
This is a pretty normal day for Noah.
Normal
Yeah.
fare.
I mean, well, not recently, but 5 years ago, it was a pretty normal thing for Noah. He's company man. So.
Best bag and tagger they got.
Mm-hmm. So they go in and they find Molly. And Molly decides she's not going to tell any information about Claire, but she was at the hospital when Claire died. It's still bothering me. Like, the fact that Claire can die is still bothering me. So they really better have a good answer when they finally reveal it.
Yeah.
Because if it's going to be one of those just accept it, she's dead kind of things, I'm not going to fly with this. It's going to ruin the whole series for me. That's one of those things. One little minor thing like that, because it's not really a minor thing when it comes down to it.
It's not minor.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is because it's a character that's not on the show anymore. This is kind of like a retelling now. This, even though it's a sequel to Heroes, a television series sequel, which you don't really see because it's not season 5 of Heroes. It's a sequel. It's a spin-off.
Season 1 of Heroes Reborn.
Yeah. So even though the character's not in the show and you can watch the show without really knowing too much about the other heroes because they seem to explain themselves really well, and they like when they name drop without name dropping Sylar this episode. They started, I used to know a guy that could collect abilities and things like that, but he didn't say Sylar, and now everybody who knew Sylar knew what he was talking about. And everybody who didn't know Sylar wasn't confused by a name drop for a character that they didn't know. So by not using his name was actually the best option for them here.
Yeah.
But now for Claire, it's just like you have this girl that can't be killed, and now you're throwing her on the shows and saying she was killed without explaining it. And that's probably not a big deal to people that are just watching Heroes Reborn that have never seen anything else. They're not questioning it like we are. So that's why I say it's a minor thing, but it's not.
Yeah.
So Molly won't reveal that, and instead she decides to pop a bullet in her head. So some serious shit must have gone down for Molly to not even want to be alive anymore.
Well, I think it's also she's been through this too many times. She's been used. They've been in her head too many times. I don't think she can take it anymore.
Who's to know what that machine was doing to her while she was wired up to it, too?
Yeah. Well, she also said she held out the location. She didn't tell them where it was or who. I think she was referring to
Melina.
So I think she also knew what was at stake if they found Melina.
Right. Harris did mention that they had a spike of energy show up in Canada, but Erika didn't want to be bothered on a goose chase, and because she didn't know if it was certain. But what we found out here is the glasses, the Google glasses, actually still work just within 100 feet, 100 yards, 100 feet, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Of their processor or whatever. So Molly's not the processor anymore, but they have, just like a local one.
Yeah, the local range, like basically within visual range. If you can see them, you can tell if they're an Evo, but you won't be able to like pinpoint somebody across the planet.
Right.
Which is kind of good.
Yeah, that's good that Melina won't be found as easily now, but...
Yeah, but they're still after her.
Right. So...
I don't know. I love the episodes, the way they're doing them. I just hope this what they're, the meta payoff is worth what they're trying to build up for.
And that's
because they're really
where Heroes falls.
They're really going for a season 1 payoff. Save the cheerleader in the very last second. They save everything and it's all good. And
yep. Yeah, but
What
that
did
was like the
Molly
big
say
thing with
before?
Heroes in the past. After the first season, like all the big threats kind of fell flat on their face when they were done,
Yeah.
and that was really the big letdown. And I think over the course that's why people stopped tuning in. It's just because like after season 2, and season 3, and the end of season 4, it's just like, all right, even I had enough at that point, and I love Heroes. So I think what I needed was, and the show, the fan base, everything needed this 5-year break.
Yeah.
So
What was it that Molly said before she shot herself? Forget the past, save the future.
Yeah.
I like that. Good one.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that about does it. But I'm really excited to see Phoebe's role in all this, because she, as like the shadow creature now, she kind of looks more evil. So I'm
Yeah.
curious what
Apparently,
Renatus has done to her.
yeah, she's. I don't know. Hopefully, she's not like completely brainwashed and like just this zombie. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to see like an
I have a feeling
actual.
it's gonna be a Winter Soldier type deal.
I'd like to see an
She's just
actual
silent.
supervillain. You know.
Yeah, that's the big thing that this show is lacking right now, is a big villain that you could like name, because we're like, oh yeah, Luke and Joanne, they're kind of whatever, and Renatus is kind of like the underlying villain, but it's like, oh, is Erika really the big end all be all, and like we know her motive, her everything. She doesn't seem like the final villain to me.
No, not
Yeah.
the final villain, but she's trying to wipe out most of humanity. I think she can achieve villain status with that.
Oh
And I
yeah,
want to.
yeah,
I want to see what else they're gonna do with this whole mass genocide. Let's start over. Type idea. They've got a lot more exposition to do.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It would be
For sure.
funny if it turns out that Erika is rounding up all the Evos so she can keep them safe and kill off humanity.
She's acting like too much of a bigot for that to be true.
I don't know, because she's using Harris, and Harris is clearly an Evo, and there's no way that he's keeping that a secret from her.
I mean, no, of course she knows. She knows what
Right.
he can do.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying.
But they're using the old line, one of us, one of them.
Hmm.
And even back then, they didn't respect the Evos. They just used them.
Yeah. Before they were called Evos.
Yeah, exactly.
They were
So
specials.
she doesn't give a shit about Evos. She
Yeah.
would see them all dead. She wants to use their powers to kill them.
Pretty much. You guys have anything else before we go into the next week's synopsis?
Nah.
That's it.
Next
Just
week.
that I love Quinn.
Next week is called The Lion's Den. Noah, Bennett, and Quentin take on Renatus, while Miko's plan to retrieve her sword may land her in trouble. Melina's journey brings her closer to the truth. Elsewhere, Luke returns home to confront his past, and the authorities close in on Tommy. And meanwhile, Carlos may have found an unexpected ally, and Erika solidifies her plan. It seems like that synopsis had a lot of ands, and just like randomly pairing people together that have nothing to do with each other.
And this and that and more.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Carlos may have found an unexpected ally, and Erika, no, it's just like, I don't know. So, can't wait. As Eduardo says in chat, it's the hero's journey. We have many, many more hero journeys to take.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We shall wait until Thursday.
indeed. Clio, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Cliomoto on the socials and on Twitch at the Cliomoto.
Excellent. Erika, where can the people find you?
Everywhere across the internet at Erika Rain 7.
Excellent. Find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM.
Phenomenon.
There.
You can also find us on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, and right here on YouTube at /ASO TV Podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Till next week,
Bye.
keep those powers under wraps.
Never!